Hi, this was supposed to be a video about how I repin this Alba non-repinable lock by drilling out, by extracting the retainer pin, and I could make the video and show you how I extracted all the pins, even saved the retainer pin and spring and the lock core, and could be a really nice video, but it isn't what really happened. What really happened is that I had this lock and I messed up completely. I had to drill 2 holes, the core didn't get out well, I ruined some of the pins, I had to bang it with a hammer. So this is the reality, and we all used to watch videos on YouTube on how everyone are successful at picking locks, at making projects, but I thought that maybe it will be beneficial for anyone to see how I completely failed to repin this lock. So if you continue watching, you're going to see my failure, and in the end I will analyze what exactly happened. So if this is something that interests you, keep watching. An Alba padlock, perhaps the master lock of the Israeli locks. Very easy to pick, and this is a pretty good body and a nice lock, but it has absolutely no security. And the worst part, it is not repinable. So what if I do want to repin this lock? So in order to understand what it takes to repin a lock, let's discuss how lock become repinable. So you probably saw this in videos from different channels. There are 2 main cases of repinable locks. So for example, this Abus is repinable because it has a small format interchangeable core, which is this core, which is of looks like a figure 8, and unfortunately I was too lazy to pin the lock. So when you open the lock, you can look down the hole, and I hope you can see it. And there's a screw inside. You can see it clearly now. And if you unscrew this screw, then you can extract the lock core from the inside and exchange the pins as usual. There are plenty of videos showing how this is done, and this is not the goal of this video. So another possibility is like on this master lock 911, it has the same idea, whereas there is a screw inside here. It's hard to see, but this time the screw removes an armored plate. Here is the other end of that screw, and removes the armored plate, and inside there's a key in knob cylinder. So if I remove it, the key knob will come out and I will be able to repin this lock. Again, you can watch Bosnia and Bill do both types of guttings in a lot of videos, And again, this is not the goal of our video, just I wanted to explain for completeness what's going on here. So these two locks are repinable. So let's talk about non-repinable locks. And a good example of a non-repinable lock is this master lock. So this master lock is a laminated lock, which means it has a bunch of plates stuck together using rivets. So there is a core inside, but it's held by one or two plates which are again riveted to one another. And if you could remove these first two or three plates, then you would be able to extract the core and repin the lock. But this will destroy the lock entirely, because you have to cut off the rivets here. And well, this is a master lock number 3, so never mind. But there's a different way that non-repinable locks hold the core inside. And let's examine this lock, and this is the key for the lock. As you can see, it has 5 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts, so 5 pins. But when you look, and I hope you can see it, if not I'll post a picture of only this part. You can see the plugs that plug the lock, that were plugged when the lock was constructed. So the core was inserted, then the pins, and then the machine plugged the holes. But if you count the actual plugs, you can see that there are 6 holes here. So why are there 6 holes and 5 pins? So one possibility is that there are six chambers in the core and they just pinned up 5 of them. But I don't think that this is what really going on here. What I think that is going on here is that the 6th chamber is used for a retainer pin. So what is a retainer pin? Let's examine this core for a second. And usually when a core is inserted inside a lock, then what preventing it from moving out of the lock is a circlip. And a circlip is basically a clip that is sits inside the groove here, and it blocks the lock from the lock core from leaving from the front. You can see a circlip here on this lock, and it rides inside the groove. This is an identical core inside this groove, and it doesn't allow me to push the core out. So back to this. What if the 6th chamber has a pin in it, but the core doesn't have a hole for the pin? Instead, the pin rides inside this groove like this. So if the pin rides inside the groove and it's pressed with a spring into the core, then it performs the same action as the circlip. So there is a pin holding the core from exiting from the front. So if this pin is spring-loaded like all the rest of the driver pins, then I will be able to knock it out by simply hitting the lock real hard on a hard surface. So here is the chamber, and imagine there is a pin here with is spring-loaded, and it rides in the groove of the core. So if I turn the lock upside down and hit it real hard, and at the same time pull at the core, I should be able to overcome the spring tension of the retainer pin and pull the core out. But this is of course only possible when the correct key is inside. So I'll stop the video now and wait until morning, and try to remove the core from this lock. Okay, so the pins are over here, so I need to bang it like this and pull the key at the same time. I hope it works, and if it doesn't, you'll never see this video published. Okay, didn't work. Okay, so banging didn't work as expected, but at least now we can see clearly the position of where I think is the retainer pin. So it's time to drill him out. Okay, so we saw that I killed the spring. Let's see what else we have there. Okay, so the drilling killed the spring, and now all we have left is to see if I was right about the retainer pin. So a pin did fall out. Let's see if I can now remove the core. And this is going to be a little bit messy. Or not. Okay, so I think the other pins just fell into the groove. Okay, so this still turns, but something did fall into the groove. Let's see. So it doesn't want to move in any direction. Okay, let me pause now. So I completely failed with this one and eventually had to drill out another hole here, because what happened is that when I pulled out the core, the pin from the fifth chamber actually popped into the groove of the retainer pin. So I have this padlock, and it works the same way as the other one. As you can see, the retainer pin is this one, and it lives in a pretty deep groove here. So now I have the key in, and you see that the retainer pin limits the turning angle of the core. So if I pull out the core the way it is now, then simply the next pin, the fifth pin, will fall into the hole of the retainer pin, and this is exactly what happened there. So what I was supposed to do is remove the retainer pin and then turn it so that the pins sit outside the groove for the retainer pin. So technically now I can pull out the core of this lock, but I won't do it because I'm going to fix this lock with some nicer pins. So this is what happened, and if you saw the intro, I have another lock which took me about 5 minutes to do the same and remove the core and remove all the pins. So maybe I'll make another video of how I return all the pins with some nicer security pins to that other lock. So thank you for watching my failure and have a nice day.